So what are we doing today then, Tyler?
We are going to be looking at the fan-made series Astartes.
Welcome to NerdOut.
Do you like my dreadnought? So, for those who enjoy the Warhammer 40K community, for those who are part of the Warhammer 40K community, there has been a recent love for a fan-made series called Astartes, made by the Astartes team. They have no other name. We don't know it. But yes, so I'm a fan of the Warhammer 40k universe, so I know a little bit more about it than Jacob does. But Jacob's also watched it. He's going to be giving it from a very neutral standpoint. So Jacob, why don't we start off with your? Oh, by the way, during this we're not going to actually disclose. We're not actually going to dissect. Sorry, every part, like every episode of Astartes. We're just going to be looking at the overall 5-part series. So yeah, what's your initial thoughts on it, really, Jacob? Though.
I enjoyed it. As I said to you when I first watched it, it's probably down to the fact that obviously I don't know a lot about what was going on. I've got a little bit of Warhammer knowledge from what you've told me in the past, but most of that has probably just gone in one ear and out the other, which is the perks being deaf, I suppose. But no, I think it was really enjoyable. There was so much tension being built up throughout. I think the the fact that it was quite short in length and the fact that you could watch really all of them in like 20 minutes
Yeah.
probably helped me as a neutral because when I'm watching stuff, I do like there to be a bit of dialogue, a bit of actual like ongoing content,
Yeah.
which obviously there wasn't. Um, However, it had a very Dunkirk feel in the fact that it was basically like silent, just with the music going on in the background, the footsteps. I reckon it would have been perfect for surround sound.
Yeah.
Um, but the fact I didn't really know what was going on didn't help. Um, I thought the graphics were really, really good with what they did. There were some bits where I thought the green screen was a bit iffy and it was so obviously Lego. Um, it was like uh, you could tell it was fan made, but it was enjoyable, even
Mm.
though I didn't know what was going on at
Uh,
all.
any kind of like good bits, bad bits, or did you pretty much just say all of that there?
I think the combat that they did was really really effective,
Yeah.
um, and the frame by frame view of it, and when they had like the slow mo bits as well, I thought worked really well.
Mm.
Um, and you're going to judge me for saying this, but the glowing ball at the end, I didn't like the way they got absorbed into that. I think that could have been done a bit better.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it was one of those ones where they did well with what they had. The combat was really good. The graphics were great. The sound effects were amazing. The movement was janky, but that was expected. And it was better than some stuff I've seen before.
Ah, fair enough. So, my kind of thoughts on it is when I heard this was being made, I was like, oh my god, someone's taking the time out to actually make a Warhammer 40k kind of like short story, as it were. I thought when I first heard it was coming out, I was like, it's going to be fan made. It's probably going to be made in like some sort of weird, bad like Blender 3D animator type thing. But watching it, I thought it looked really good. As you said, sound effects were absolutely awesome. Um, what I first had trouble trying to get over was the actual chapter of the Space Marines that was being used. I didn't know who they are until I actually looked it up, and they are the Retributors from the Adeptus Astartes. Not to be confused with the Sisters of Battle Retributor squads, which is just now in the lore female Space Marines, because who doesn't like a Space Marine with a pair of boobies? Uh, but no, I thought the use of the like combat that they had during it. So I managed to understand the story a little better. It was a Space Marine squad chasing after like a bunch of renegades. The two leaders of which had psyche powers and were in touch with what I believe to be the warp, and that's what I think that ball at the end was an aspect or like something that got them in touch with the warp, which leads everyone onto chaos, which is why the warp spoke to the Space Marines and called them Astartes because they know what the hell's because chaos knows what's going on basically.
God, love
But
a bit of chaos.
go,
I love chaos.
die, heretic, die. No, I honestly thought the whole thing was really, really, really good. I can understand why the movie movement was a bit janky, but then again, when you play games such as Warhammer Space Marine that was released on console and PC, and even one that I've recently gotten into, which was Space Hulk Deathwing. You got to remember these are massive mechanical suits. The movement's going to be a bit janky in places. So I
Yeah,
kind of
well, as I said, it was Robot Chicken-esque
yeah.
in its approach.
The use of the battles, like it actually includes Space Marine tactics that you find in the lore, that you find in playing the actual battle game on a board on a table. Also, the enemies, their adversaries, the heretics and the renegades. I thought they looked. They done the job. It got use. You saw use of plasma guns. You saw use of las cannons. You saw use of what was it called? It was like oh
A
my
dagger.
god. No, well, yeah, the combat knives of the Space Marines I thought was absolutely awesome. There we go. It was a what was it called? I've got it right here in front of me. Oh well, big ass gun. That's basically the only way I can put it.
Not
Big
to be
gun.
confused with the big ass gun in any other franchise.
Never confuse it with the big ass gun in any other franchise.
It's not quite a chainsword
Yeah.
gun from Gears of War.
Also, the use of the in the final episode of Inquisition sanctioned psychers, so people with psychic ability getting in touch with the warp and then obviously being corrupted by it. I thought that was really awesome. If you're watching this in part of the Warhammer community and you haven't seen the meme yet, do. It's an amazing meme that's been made out of that. Just that one scene where the two Space Marines absolutely decimate the Psyker when he gets corrupted. My only bad point is two bad points actually is the lack of dialogue. So you can understand why there's a lack of dialogue. It is supposed to be a surprise attack, but it's also Space Marines talk to each other for their tactics. They do have their own inbuilt comm system. So I would have loved to hear the comm system between all of the retributors in that tactical squad. That would have been pretty cool. Because you hear of course Space Marines talking like any of the Warhammer video games, such as Dawn of War, Dark Crusade, which I think is the best one so far. I also thought it was a bit too clean. It sounds weird,
Yeah.
but the Warhammer universe is dirty, it's gritty, it's basically yeah, sure, you can have a nicely polished Space Marine, and as you saw at the end of Part 5, the Space Marine was a bit more battered, God's sake, he was missing an arm. But I find the whole surrounding, the spaceship at the start looked too clean. It didn't look like a stolen freighter from the Warhammer universe. It looked too Eldar-y than it did human and Space Marine and Imperium.
The way I thought of it was obviously the armor that they use is pretty magnificent,
Yeah.
but it's to put it in a franchise that I understand, if you shoot a gun, a blaster or something at Bhaskar steel,
Yeah.
you will still have the marks left.
Yes.
From when it was shot. So yeah, it was. They just looked untouched, no issues.
Yeah.
The ships they just seem to get through too easily. And I know they're well trained, but you still and they're some of the best in the galaxy, but you still expect there to be some failure to it.
Here's the thing though, when it comes to Space Marines in the Warhammer lore, and I think the series does a very, very good job of reflecting this, is that they are bred to kill. They are bred for war. And you can see that because that's their prime objective. You see them get shot. You see them get like telekinetically like stuck into a position. But I find that the sheer badassery and the sheer um like the you know what I mean
Yeah,
of the Space Marines, I find is very well reflected in that 5-part series. I think it does it justice, like a lot of justice.
yeah.
But I just think it's too clean. Like it's very very
Oh, it's
clean.
way too clean. It's
But
like the way I describe, for instance, when you watch an animation and you know that there's been like war and famine and things like that, and yet it just looks pristine, and you're like,
yeah,
well, that's just not right.
yeah, because you got to remember this is the same universe in which Necromunda is a part of, and Necromunda is by no means clean like it is in the Astartes series.
Yeah,
But let's talk about the future, the possible future of the series, because you watch part 5, there is a lot of cliffhanging left, and you look at the community feedback, they want more. So, where do you think the future of the series could go from your angle?
I have absolutely no clue. Obviously, I don't know much. I know what I want to see,
Yeah,
because you know me, I love Space Wolves. I'd love to see some. Um, I just think now they need to start build, obviously build from what they've got, potentially make it a bit longer, actually have some dialogue in it, and just kind of work on the feedback they're given. So I can't come at it from a canon perspective of what I want them to do next, but
right.
I can come up with what I want them to improve upon.
Alright.
Um, and like that part 5 was, I think, like 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
I think potentially have every part that length would be perfect.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, but
What
I
would you want, like canon wise?
so canon wise, so as we could see from the end of part 5, there is flashes of different Space Marine chapters. There's one that looks eerily kind of similar to the Iron Hands with the skeleton with the skeleton hand on their helmet. I think it's one of Astartes' like the makers one of their own chapters. Not too sure. There's a desert type one as well. With what tank was it? It was I can't remember what tank it was with. Right at the end, I found that was it's intriguing because they're showing other chapters that obviously that they've put time into designing and making, so they wouldn't want all that just for like a 3-second clip at the end. You can see the Blood Angels, so that's a well-established chapter there. They were given away by the red armor and the blood drop on their helmet. But also at the end of part 5 with the Retributor that with his arm missing through the end, he goes into like this like desert area where he's surrounded by like skeletons and husks. So I would like to see, because they're actually my favorite faction in the Warhammer 40k universe, is Necrons. That's what I think. I think it's the husks of the Necrons before they channeled their spirits into their mechanical bodies as we see them now. So that's why I'd like to see it go. But where you find Necrons, you're going to find Tau, because Tau are also desert dwellers, sort of. But like, I think they're opening it up to more than just Chaos and the Astartes, and opening it towards Xenos and the Astartes as well. So that's where I think the future of the series lies, is with conflict with Xenos, but also that always ever going conflict with Chaos. And we saw that with the Ball, which I think I haven't read too much into it because I want to formulate my own opinion. I think it is, in fact, that orb is in touch with the warp, and is in fact an artifact of chaos. So that's where I'd like to see it go. I'd also like Games Workshop to turn around, give these guys a proper budget and studios. I just need to beep a lot of myself out now. But
Rule 1 of this video: do not swear.
what's the first thing I do? I made that rule as well. I would like to no, but I would really like to see them get better budget. I'd like to see Astartes get bigger, like better development studios and all that, because I think if they were to do that, they could make a better Warhammer film than any of the previous attempts by Games Workshop.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even though Games Workshop basically think they're Warhammer now.
Yes.
Um,
But yeah.
but no, I think there's a lot of ways they can go with it in the future. It's just they just need that funding,
Yeah.
which they're getting.
Yeah. What is your overall opinion of it though? Like, just kind of like.
I enjoyed it. I think it's one of those things where it made me want to actually research into it a bit more.
Mm,
Um, but if they didn't use the feedback they're given by a lot of the community, and they just kind of carried on on the path they're going with the same kind of feel to it, I don't think I'd continue watching further.
alright.
Um,
Fair enough.
what about you?
I think I'd watch it again, even with their current style. Astartes, if you're watching this, I am an actor. I can provide voice acting for you if you so wish. I'll throw that one out there. But yeah, definitely I'd still watch it even with the path it's on at the minute. But if they just make those like couple of improvements, like dirty it up, make it look a bit more like Warhammer, like where there is only war, and yeah, get some voice acting into that. I reckon you got a really good series on your hands.
Yeah, I just think it's a case of listening to what people
Yeah,
want.
because here's the thing: it's the
Um,
community that's going to be giving them the feedback now.
yeah, it is, and I think the with fan made productions like this, you often run the issue with kind of going against what the fans actually want
Yeah,
yourself, because you think I've seen YouTubers do it before, where because they are fans, they think that you're wrong and they're right.
yes, yeah. No, I see.
Um,
I see what you mean. Because I will say, Games Workshop have completely lost the way with Warhammer Fantasy. I don't want them to lose the way with 40k, and they're going that way with the whole like everything's Primaris now. Ugh. That's a different video, though. I think at some point in the future.
yeah, no, I can see there's a lot they can do. It's just I think it's going to take time
Yeah,
because I think you can tell from the video that they have funding, but they don't have loads of funding.
yeah,
And when you look at a lot of fan made productions, that is what you need. It's funding more than anything. And I think if they were to do like a crowdfunding online and tell the fans what their promises are for the next kind of like series, should we say?
yeah,
Um, I reckon they could raise a lot of money just to do it,
yeah. And I know
but
there's
they'd have.
a lot of the community that would back a project like that
Oh
because
yeah,
it's something I've always wanted as a proper 40k like series or movie. And I think a TV series would be better because there's so much going on. Like you wouldn't be able to fit all of it into one movie, which they
yeah.
tried with Space Marine, with
I
one of the Space
think
Marines.
I do think Netflix would have something good with this.
They've done it with
Um,
The Witcher.
done it with The Witcher. I reckon they're going to do it with Magic the Gathering as well.
Yeah,
So they've got, I believe, the Game of Thrones creators for that.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a perfect show for Netflix.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's been our review of Astartes. It might be a bit everywhere. I've now got to edit myself swearing out of it, which is going to be fun. Um, but yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have anything that you want us to look at, review, talk about, put that in the comments. We are in isolation, of course, because of everything that's going on in the UK at the minute and around the world. I hope everyone's faring well. I hope everyone's okay.
Wash your hands, stay indoors, protect the NHS,
And
and
protect any medical service that you are wherever you are in the world.
stop buying toilet roll.
I'm running out of bog roll. I'm starting to wipe my bottom with the dog.
I'm running out of that, and I'm running out of soap.
Oh god. Anyway,
Yeah.
thanks you for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Ciao.